Namaskar. My name is Didi Ananda Krpa. I'm a yogic nun of Ananda Marga and an early childhood Neohumanist educator. And I'll be talking about why in Neohumanist schools all over the world and also in nurseries, we do yoga and meditation to children. Why we teach yoga and meditation to children. Once a great philosopher was asked, and his name is Sarkar. He is actually the preceptor and co-founder of the philosophy of Neohumanism. And he was asked, why do you run kindergarten? Not high schools, not degree colleges, not universities. And he replied, I will read exactly what he says about it. He said, a kindergarten is something basic, and the mission of man-making is accomplished here. If one has already become a thief or a criminal, in that case, a university education for such a person is of no avail. One has to be molded in one's childhood. If one receives the fundamentals of education in the formative period of life, one will keep oneself aright in the teeth of the heaviest odds later on. A bamboo, when green, can be shaped or bent in any way one likes. But once it ripens, any attempt to reshape it will break it. That is why more stress is laid on kindergarten education. This is the first phase of man-making. So you see, a child at tender age is very flexible. You can teach anything to a child and they can easily learn it. So if you teach a child good values, they will retain it until they become adults. And this will actually determine what kind of adult these children will be in the future. So Neohumanist education is based on the philosophy of Neohumanism of Sri Prabhatranjan Sarkar. So Neo means new and humanism means, humanism for human beings only. But Neo-humanism is not only for human beings. It also includes plants, animals, and also animate and inanimate things. So we can simply say that Neo-humanist or Neo-humanist philosophy is a physical, psycho, and spiritual ecology. Why? Because children are taught from their young age not to care only of the plants and animals and the inanimate things like rocks and stones physically, but also children are taught to see their interconnectedness with the whole creation, not only physically, but also mentally and spiritually. So Neohumanist education is not only about learning good social skills, to be nice with your friends, with your peers, or not just being kind to your family and friends, or learning good communication skills so you can play nicely with your friends. But to use those skills in a practical sense, to also use those kindness, that love to animals, plants and inanimate things, like mountains, seas, rocks, and stones. And how do they apply that? If the children will feel that the seas, the mountains, the animals and plants are part of them, they will feel empathy for those things. They will feel love. They will not destroy them. So if they learn that from very young age, then the future of humanity is really very, very bright. So Neohumanist education differs from other educational systems in the sense that it does not only aims to develop the child's full potential. In a normal education system, child's full potential is physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and ethical development. But Neohumanist education also supports them in their inner journey to self-discovery that could one day lead them to the path of self-realization, which actually is the spiritual aspect of Neohumanist education. That is why the Neohumanist education motto is Sabibiyaya Dimuktaye, means education for self-realization. And that is also the reason why yoga and meditation are taught to the children. Healthy lifestyle are practiced inside the kindergarten. And school setting, such as serving vegetarian and vegan food to the children, and practicing asanas and meditation inside the classrooms, will keep them physically, mentally, socially, and emotionally healthy children. Children, for example, learn how to prepare a healthy food as part of their activities, right? Normal activities in the classroom, such as baking or making fruit salad. So the children actually learn how to see or know the real value of food because they experience them. They touch them, they prepare them, and also they serve it to their friends and eat them together among themselves. And then every morning, before the start of the activities, children sit in a circle where they sing songs, recite rhymes and poems, they chant, and they meditate. So classrooms are arranged in such a way that there are plenty of high quality materials that for their sensory and motor development, because they also have to develop physically, and they are easily accessible to children. So the toys are not kept somewhere. They are there. They are free to touch them. They are free to play with them whenever they like. And then they also learn how to put them back. So they learn how to tidy up. So that is actually part of also in yoga practices is cleanliness, being tidy. So the children are taught also how to be tidy. And then there are also plenty of light in the room because light is very good for the children, and it creates also a very nice ambient for the children. And they have also dance, music, and poetry areas where they can express their creativity in music and other aesthetic areas. So, for example, the children can learn piano, they can learn ukulele, because at a young age, even at the age of 4. And then dramatic plays areas are also arranged to develop their communication and social skills and many more learning areas. So, Neohumanist education system believes that before the age of 6, a child has the ability to develop his or her full potential through assimilating a holistic and lovingly nurtured childhood that will be the base of his or her future life and endeavors. Therefore, the teacher plays a very important role in the life of the children because he or she will serve as the mentor and guide the children in these formative years. So you see, In a Neohumanist kindergarten, a teacher's role is like a guru. It's like a spiritual teacher. You know? She will teach them she will teach them values through stories, through dramatizations, through music, through her own example. She will be the example, the role model of children. That's why a teacher's academic qualification is not enough to be a teacher in a Neohumanist school, but rather, teachers must also possess 5 noblest qualities in human beings. They are selflessness. She should be kind. She should know also how to serve. She should know how to share things. Strength in character. She has a very good moral standard in her personal life. Leadership. The third, she knows how to motivate children, how to make them follow the routine, follow the activities of the school without forcing the children. And she will do that on the base of her own personal strength and example. And the number 4 is service spirit. For her, teaching is not a job. Being a teacher or teaching is a mission itself. Because these children is under her care. She is like their guru, their spiritual teacher. They will lead them. She will lead them to their bright future. And number 5 is the love for all life. What does it mean, love for all life? She will also respect not only people, but she will also have respect for plants, animals, and inanimate beings. So she will also be actually a Neohumanist. Now the teachers have the power actually to transform the students by setting an example, by imparting a loving guidance, and by nurturing the highest aspirations of the human spirit. Therefore, their personal, moral, and spiritual development is very, very important. So now, what is education for self-realization? Sabi Yaya Bimutay. Neohumanist education believes that a child's evolution is higher than that of animals. Animals are characterized by 4 different instincts. They eat, they sleep, they survive. They're always running for their survival because of fear, and they reproduce. That is the life of an animal. But even though human beings have these 4 basic instincts, they are not governed by those instincts. Rather, a child as a human being has much more higher purpose in life that will slowly unfold layer by layer as the child evolves in his or her own life. So these 4 human characteristics that differ us from animals are expansion, rhythm, service, and movement towards the infinite. So now let us explain expansion in the terms of Neohumanist education. So why is it necessary in educating a child? In each and every living being, Prabhat Ranjan Sarkar said, there is a thirst for limitlessness, for expansion, for self-knowledge. This thirst must be awakened in each and every child. And the thirst is the thirst to assimilate the whole universe. A human body is not only for physically nurturing and preserving it. The intellect is not only for assimilating knowledge of this physical world. Human existence is much more than that. Through holistically developing in the physical and mental level, a child has more scope to evolve still higher by unlocking his or her potential through spiritual practice of yoga and meditation. The practice of yoga and meditation will take the child to a higher level in a much expanded version of herself or himself. So the practice of yoga is taught in the children as a play. So they don't, for example, in a kindergarten, they don't do breathing so much, as we do it with the adults. So aside from keeping them physically fit through practice of yoga, it also helps children to release their tensions and worries. For example, from home or during their transition period in the kindergarten. As yoga is done in a playful and fun way, the children automatically will enjoy themselves in this activity. So the body and the mind has a very close relationship. Through yoga postures, the harmony between body and mind is achieved. After each yoga session, the children do relaxation, so it keeps them relaxed. It releases their tensions. It makes their mind and body calm. And they also do creative visualization. Creative visualization actually is a very powerful tool in yoga practice, especially for children, because through this, the children enter in their inner world through deep internal guided fantasies, and they feel their natural connection with everything and feel their own creativity flow unlimitedly. Creative visualization is used in Neohumanist education to let children imagination flow naturally, so they can touch the creative energies of the highest layers of the mind during that serene state. Now, the second characteristic of human being is rhythm. As this physical world is dancing in waves of cosmic energy, it means also that those waves have rhythm. In yoga, it is believed that the whole cosmological order is dancing in waves. All the beings and celestial bodies are dancing in the cosmic rhythm. So children also need rhythm. Most children love music. They love movements. They jump. They tap their feet. They clap their hands easily at the sound of the music. So in short, children are actually very musical. That's why in all Neohumanist schools, musical atmosphere is created. They learn songs, they play instruments at very young age. That they have plenty of time, and room for poetries and rhymes. They have time to sway their bodies through dances, through yoga dances, through folk dances, and many more kinds of movements. And children love following a constant routine. And if there's deviation in it, they question it. So a well-arranged routine is a must in a kindergarten, where they have ample time to play, to be under the sun, to also after being outdoors, they can do directed or self-directed activities. And the Neohumanist kindergarten maintains a rhythmic regularity in all its events. So the children feel secure when they know what is the next activity. Instead, and if they don't know, many children becomes restless and tense. So the children like regularity in their activities. Now the third one is the spirit of service. What does it mean by teaching service in a humanist education? The spirit of service is a very important aspect of a neo-humanist education. Meditation and yoga practices is not enough to reach the innermost core of oneself without thinking, of the welfare of other people. So the effectivity of yoga and meditation is boosted, in the children when they learn the feeling of service. And how do they do that? How do the children can render service when they are too small? So the feeling of interconnectedness with each and every creature of this world can only be effective if the children really do experience them, and when they feel them. There are people, plants, and animals that also need their help and support. So how do they do this? In a kindergarten, it is very natural that some child would say, "Teacher, can I help you carry your books? Teacher, can I bring you this?" So they like to help. So in our kindergartens, the children are encouraged to do small chores, helping the little children in the kindergarten. For example, taking the small children and showing them the toilet and how to wash their hands. So bigger children, they help the smaller children. And also there are plants there, or fishes that they can feed, the plants that they can water. They sing and chant for the trees and birds in the forest. So during their forest activities, and they sing and perform songs and dramas and dances for the elderly in the old people's home. And they give food to poor children during festivals, or they donate their old toys, but usable toys for the poor children. So even helping out smaller children in their chores in the classrooms. In this way, the children, they learn that the value of kindness, the value of sharing, the value of being helpful. And for them, it's not a job. Helping others is fun for the children. So in this way, children will understand better the many values that they learn from stories when they experience them in their day-to-day life in the school. Now, the last point is moving towards infinite. So moving towards infinite is more, this cosmic thing, this more spiritual aspect of the education in a neo-humanist setting. So it is said that the real meaning of yoga is union with the Supreme. Yoga is not a religion. So a neo-humanist school does not teach religion to children, but rather we teach inclusiveness, and it teaches universalism. Anyone can practice yoga and meditation. Any child can practice yoga and meditation. And any person in all walks of life can practice yoga and meditation. And yoga is not only exercise. Yoga is to find one's way back to the Supreme. So neo-humanist education aims that one day children will feel internally that oneness within their hearts, that they are not alienated to the nature. They are not alienated to the people around them. And they will also feel that the plants, animals, birds, forests, and glades are also their brothers and sisters. When children are imparted this kind of education, in the future, animals and plants will also find that humans are their friends, and people will also learn to avoid inflicting harm to animals and plants. And so there will be less cruelty inflicted on plants, animals, on all our rivers, mountains, forests, and the whole Mother Nature. Those children who will be adults in the future will be the voice of the future of our universal and inclusive world. And as they carry this universal love in their hearts and minds, one day they will also feel and realize that divinity within them through this universal love. And as they carry on their meditation and yoga practice as part of their education. Thank you. Neohumanist education, Savidyaya Vimuktaye, education for self-realization.